Hi, in this video I would like to present to you the Spanish Inquisition that was one of the most traumatic experiences in Jewish history. Inquisitions were conducted in Europe since the 12th century and all of them were brutal. But the Spanish Inquisition that started in the 15th century surpassed the brutality of all the former ones. The Spanish Inquisition started at the request of Queen Isabella and King Ferdinand soon after conquering Spain back from the Muslims. The king and queen were devout Christians and requested that the Vatican install the Inquisition in Spain in order to enforce a united Christian mindset. The king and queen first issued an order that all non-Christians must convert to Christianity, and many Jews complied out of fear. Unfortunately, that also subjected them to the brutality of the Inquisition. The Inquisition was a religious tribunal that targeted people who converted to Christianity and tried them for heresy. People who were targeted were asked to confess their crimes, and if they didn't, they were tortured into confessing them. Once they confessed, they were sentenced to a punishment, which often was execution, and often by group burning. The tribunals and the executions were often done in public, in front of a cheering crowd. Victims were made to wear a cone hat and were mocked by the crowd that considered it entertainment. There are no records to show how many people, Jews and non-Jews, the Inquisition executed. The middle range estimate is around 150,000. The way it worked was that every so often the religious police issued a decree of an act of faith by which members of the community were called to report suspicions of converts practicing their old religion in secrecy. Evidence was not required, and any suspicion was sufficient in order to summon people into the tribunal. People reported suspicious gatherings that were connected with the Jewish calendar, smoke absent from a house on Shabbat, smell of a Jewish dish, and so on. Some reporting was made up due to personal conflicts and exploitations. Spain was under Muslim control for about 700 years before becoming Christian again, and Jewish life under Muslim control was better than in other European countries at that time. That is not to say that it was ideal, as the today Muslim anti-Zionists want you to believe. Jews were marginalized, had to pay a Jewish tax, and were subjected to restrictions, but they were able to thrive professionally and culturally. By the time Spain became Christian again, the Jews were well established, and the change for the worst was sudden, drastic, and traumatic. In 1492, at the same time that Columbus embarked on the historical voyage to America, Spain expelled all the Jews from Spain just for being Jews. The order of expulsion granted the Jews 3 months to leave, and most Jews who decided not to convert left with what they could carry. About 300,000 Jews were shipped to various destinations around the Mediterranean Sea, where they were left to fend for themselves. Some Jews were granted temporary entry to Portugal, and from there they either traveled north to the Netherlands by land or were shipped south to West Africa. The Jews who decided to stay in Spain and convert to Christianity were the ones subjected to the Inquisition. The Spanish Inquisition continued to torture and execute people for another 350 years under the watchful eye of the Vatican until the early 1800s, when Napoleon conquered Spain and abolished the Inquisition. The Spanish Inquisition was surpassed in level of cruelty by the Holocaust in the 1900s. What both occasions had in common was that Jewish life was disrupted abruptly in countries that were amicable to Jews, where the Jews flourished for centuries, contributed to the economy, and most of all, didn't live in fear. If you didn't know, now you know. Bye.